Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Booktube Chicks Book Club for the month of March. This month we read The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and we're going to be chatting about that for the next hour or so. As always, I'm joined by Desiree from Libra Labra and Kathleen from For the Love of Books. My name is Chloe from Brunette Bibliophile. You're on my channel, and together we are the Booktube Chicks. So if you've never been to one of our live shows, the way it works is that for the first 10 minutes or so, we do our initial thoughts and our ratings, and they are all spoiler free. And then we will go into spoilers and talk about spoilery aspects of the book for the remainder of the time. So, Desiree, since you're right next to me, I'm going to go ahead and let you start with your rating and initial thoughts.
Oh God, my rating. I
Give us a synopsis first. I always forget that.
Okay, so the synopsis is that there's this girl and her mother has passed away, and they played like games all through her growing up, and then all of a sudden she ends up getting this letter where she's invited to the reading of a will, and she was named as given like a really big piece of Tobias, that was his name, right?
Yeah,
Tobias Hawthorne's inheritance. And she was there at the reading, and like his whole family was there, and they're like, who the hell is this girl and why did he leave her everything? So like they're trying to figure out the mystery and the puzzle of all of this. And of course, they're running into issues because people in the family are jealous and are angry and don't understand what's happening. And so, there's threats made to her life. And they really are just like there's 4 brothers, and she ends up kind of collaborating with them a little bit to figure out the mystery of why she was named as like the heiress for this person's estate and his leftover money and stuff like that. So that's what the book is about. And it's YA, right? Yes. Yeah. So it is the first book in a trilogy. And I kind of want to give it a 5. Mostly because I was just telling Chloe that, like, when you start a book that's part of a series and there's, chapters at the end of the book, I almost never read them. But I'm like on chapter 2 of the next book already because there was a few chapters in my copy. So I was like,
oh, you mean like chapters of the next book?
Of the next book, yeah.
So it's like every book has chapters. Okay, I got it.
So, yeah, usually I don't care enough, to read them. I'm just like, oh, I'll wait for when I pick up the second book. But this time I was like really curious. So I think I'm going to give it a 5.
Okay. Yeah, so I finished this book today as well. I initially, while reading the book, I was initially thinking of 4.5 because I was really enjoying. And when I finished the book, I decided to bump up my rating to 5 because I really enjoyed this book, and I could see myself rereading this book in the future. And I usually only like reread my favorites. I loved the whole puzzle solving aspect of the book because they're trying to figure, it's kind of like a mystery where they're trying to figure, it's a mystery that I would read. They're trying to figure out, what this, our main character Avery have to do with Tobias, who was this, philanthropist, and he was this huge billionaire. He left everything for her, and she didn't even know who he was. They're not related at all. So we have to find out why, how they're related and why he left her the money. And so I enjoyed the whole puzzle aspect because Tobias Hawthorne apparently really enjoyed board games. And there was actually a scene in the book where we were taken to a room where he has a huge collection of board games that people had probably never heard of. And so he kind of incorporated his home, the Hawthorne mansion, whatever it's called, his home as kind of like mazes and puzzle pieces. And I thought that was really interesting. So I really, really liked the whole puzzle aspect of the book. I enjoyed the main characters. I actually liked most, if not all, the love interests. although there's two. So I did enjoy it. I didn't find them. I'm always critical of romances, the most critical. So I always find something cringy about them. But this time I actually really enjoyed every part of the romance and the love triangle that's going on. And my only critique is the audiobook. The narrator, when she did the boys' voices, she gave them a southern accent, and the way that she did it for me made them sound really young. So when she was doing one character's name, like Nash, I think he was the oldest, he's like in his 20s and he sounded like he was going through puberty. That was just my opinion on how the narrator did the voices for the boys, but otherwise I really enjoyed everything else. So I did give it 5 stars.
So I gave this book 4 stars. I can't remember. Yeah, 4 stars. I would think I was bouncing between a 4 and a 4.5, and I ended up settling on the 4. I also listened to the audiobook, and I agree it's not the best audiobook that I've ever listened to. But as far as like the mystery puzzle aspect, I loved that, which is surprising because I'm somebody who I don't really read a lot of mysteries, and the ones that I do, I like heavily like look into it before to see if it's something I'm going to enjoy. But I ended up really enjoying the puzzle aspect of this and the mystery aspect. I will say, though, that I have the opposite opinion of Kat, where I do not care for the romance in this book, and I actually found it to be unnecessary, mostly because I really just wanted to know about the puzzle and the mystery stuff. Like the romance was kind of like a side thing for me that I didn't think really had to be there. And I ended up loving this book so much, I wrote a review for it immediately after I finished it, which I don't tend to do unless like I specifically picked up the book for review. So I'm very pleasantly surprised with this book. I really didn't have any expectations going into it. I had seen that it was very popular in Booktube, TikTok, the book world, and I am very excited. And the ending had me very excited for the next book. So I think we will go ahead into spoilers. And where do you guys want to start?
I think because you both mentioned the romance, I just wanted to say that I didn't feel like either of you. I was kind of indifferent about it. Like I didn't feel it was unnecessary. I wasn't excited it was there. Like it was so not a focus in my mind as I was reading it. Like it was just kind of
I think that's maybe why I enjoyed the book so much, because I'm not like you guys, a heavy romance reader. I like other things. So maybe I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, because I agree with Chloe. The romance was not huge on the book. And I do agree that it was unnecessary, that if that romance wasn't there, the book would still be really great and really strong. But the fact that it was kind of like a back burner romance, I enjoyed more the fact that the mystery aspect, the puzzle aspect of the book kind of took a front seat to the story.
And the romance kind of felt like an afterthought because so much was put into the mystery aspect. The romance was kind of just thrown in there, and it didn't really need to be there.
I guess I disagree because of everything that, like, the whole storyline with Emily and all of that. It feels very purposeful to me in that respect, because it was like it's meant to shine a light on something and heal a trauma, and or potentially to trigger it to happen all over again.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's really repeating itself a little. Although now we're in the romance discussion part of this live, who are you cheering for? Like who's your excuse me, your end game? Jameson or Grayson?
I kind of feel like I don't have a super strong identity for each of them. Like that's probably just my fault for kind of like reading through it a little bit quickly. I feel like I don't have a good distinguishing point between them. Like, who was the photographer?
That Grayson.
Okay, all right, then maybe I would kind of say
Grayson
him.
was the moody guy, the one who didn't like her, the one who came to get her at the very beginning of the video to bring her back. And then Jameson, I feel like he's more of a playboy.
Yeah, he does seem like more of a playboy. And I was going to say that Grayson seems more sensitive. Like he seems a little bit standoffish because he is sensitive. So that's who I would say.
I kind of agree that I don't really have. I'm not rooting for either side. Again, because it's not what I wanted. I don't care about the romance part.
I'm surprised. You guys are usually like the romance ones.
I know. And it was just like, I just want to know about the puzzle. Like, that's what I want to solve. I don't care about the other part.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I have a feeling that the romance is going to play a bigger role in the upcoming books. Like, it's going to come more to the forefront a bit, I think.
I will say, I think mostly because I'm the only one who's apparently really intrigued by the romance, I am rooting for Grayson. Just because I love that whole I'm gonna protect you, and I find that really like kind of thing. Like during our reading retreat, we were talking about like how TikTok was making me want to read mafia romances. And
oh my god, that's so funny.
I love the mafia boss romances of where he's super protective of her. I love that. So it kind of gave me a little bit of like mafia boss overprotectiveness vibes. But yeah.
One thing I wanted to touch on, because I know you both had mentioned it in our group chat, and it's also in the synopsis on Goodreads, is that this is kind of marketed as like a Cinderella thriller mystery.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
Yes, and it was funny because both of y'all mentioned it either today or yesterday, and is kind of what made me wanted to bring it up. I think instead of marketing it as Cinderella, I think they should have been. It's more like a rags to riches kind of.
Yeah, that I can see.
Mystery. Yeah, and I think that's the only Cinderella vibe about it. I mean, like, yeah, she lives with her stepsister or half sister. Is it half sister or stepsister?
I think half sister. Yeah,
half sister. Okay, and then it's rags to riches, and like that's it. So I feel like if they took away the Cinderella aspect, like it wouldn't really change anything.
I mean, besides that, I don't really see like the whole like she's not abused like Cinderella was. There was no ball. She didn't lose a shoe. She's not made to do chores. There's no animal singing around her. I honestly, I was like, when you mentioned Desiree, like, I don't get the Cinderella aspect, and I completely forgot that it was being marketed as a Cinderella mystery thing.
Is that mentioned on the actual synopsis or just somewhere else?
I saw it on
it's on Goodreads.
Okay.
It says a Cinderella story with deadly stakes and thrilling twists.
Maybe because
I think
maybe that's like alluding to the romance later, like the fact that like she ends up with, like a really rich.
I mean,
brother.
He's really rich, so
I mean now, yeah.
Because like on Goodreads, it says a Cinderella story. It doesn't say a Cinderella inspired story. I think it's what Chloe was saying. I think they really mean like a rags to riches. Kind of like Cinderella story, but yeah.
The one vibe that this book was giving me that I kind of really enjoyed was the Hawthorne family is like this like big, rich Southern family, and it kept making me think about. I don't know if y'all ever read Beautiful Creatures way back when it was popular.
I saw the movie.
I think I saw the movie too.
Yeah. Well, the movie's bad. Let's put it that way. But we have this big, rich Southern family, and that was it was giving me those vibes, even though there's zero witchiness about it. And I don't know, I was really digging that vibe.
Yeah, I honestly like. There was. With the exception, like, of the narrator doing the cringy Southern accent for the boys, I honestly forgot that they were even, like, considered South. until it was mentioned that she had to do like somewhere in the middle of the book, she had to do like appearances, and it was called like the her agent, whatever her called, Alyssa, whatever her name was, mentioned that it was something that you do it in Texas, and she had to like make a debut in the Texas society or something like that. So I was like, oh, I forgot that this is in Texas.
In Texas, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I kind of want to touch on, and this is trigger warnings for like an emotional and physically abusive relationship, is that whatever the sister's name is, her
Libby,
her like on and off again boyfriend, I think he is a red herring for the actual the hit that was on her life. I think they ended up saying who it was by the end, but I remember the police like arrested him because he was in like this car that was doing a chase.
Yeah, he was trying to run them off the road or something.
Yeah, I think he's a red herring. I think he's just honestly, if he
I
wasn't
think he was the one who. I think he was the one who did the shooting too, but it was really more focusing on the fact that it was the boy's mother, Sky, who let them in. So it didn't really, yeah.
Yes, and I think if it wasn't like, even with him being a red herring for that, I don't think he was necessary in this plot, unless something else is going to happen in the second book with their history that we don't know about yet. I don't think he was necessary in this book, or any of the abuse for that matter either.
I feel like there's going to be more to that.
I agree. I think his role is going to be more prominent later. I will say I am glad that Libby, even though she didn't like cut him off completely in the beginning, she wouldn't block his number from her cell phone. I was afraid that she was going to be like one of those the women who kind of goes back to their abusive partners, and I was so afraid that she was going to do that she was going to do something stupid and go back to him, or do something that puts Avery in harm's way. But I'm glad that she stuck to her guns, even though she didn't cut him off completely, and that she chose her sister basically. So Lady of Books and Coffee, wasn't the sister the one that leaked about her? So the sister, Libby, told Drake, is that his name?
Yeah,
she told Drake about everything, and then he's the one who went to the press. So technically it came from her, but he's the one who went to the press.
And I know there was also like mentions of Libby's mom like becoming like power money hungry as well. Yeah. I'm wondering if that's going to be explored more through the remainder of the books, because I think it was only said in passing in this one.
I'm not sure. I know that Alyssa and the agent, the lawyer person, and Avery were talking. Avery, I remember her just kind of like thinking, and she said that she wanted to make a one-time payment to Libby's mom to shut her up, basically. But it just like a one-time payment, and I don't know if they're going to touch upon that later on. But yeah. Are you okay?
As I was thinking, I was like, oh, that went the wrong way.
Trying to think of like what direction to go in next with this book. It's more fresh in y'all's mind. I know that.
Yeah. Some of those puzzles, I'm not gonna lie, it reminded me like a little bit of like National Treasure, like the movies, because they went in directions that like but that's just me. I'm not a good puzzle solver. Like, give me a riddle, I have absolutely no clue, because I don't think critically like that, logically like that. And so sometimes they would guess the answer, and I'd be like, I don't know how you would write that answer, but it makes sense to me. But okay.
I was just like really fascinated by their middle names.
Oh yeah.
And how their mother had not given them their middle names, that Tobias had come up with them. And like, I mean, it sounds like he was just planning everything from like day one.
Like he's just, there's got to be a lot of, like, he went through a lot of planning, because this is years in the making.
Years in the making, yeah, exactly.
Lady of Books and Coffee. Yes, you missed our discussion earlier. I am Team Grayson all the way. Apparently, I'm the only one who's super invested in the romance in this book, and these two ladies are, usually the ones that are the romance heavy readers. But I am Team Grayson all the way. I don't know why. Well, I did explain a little bit why. I like the whole protection thing. He was like, I will always protect you, and that was just like, I just really enjoy that part. So yes, Team Grayson, even though I do feel for Jameson, because I feel it's like that girl, what's her name? The one that died, Emily. It's like Emily happening all over
again. Yeah.
But
I kind of wanted to touch base on the ending of the book, and how I think his name is Harry from the beginning.
Yeah.
Harry.
I totally was not.
I completely forgot even existed
to come back.
Yeah. So, like, Harry, who is this homeless man from the beginning of the book, is apparently a Hawthorne, and he's
the son they thought they had died.
Yeah, he's Tobias Hawthorne the second. So he's the dad? No, he's not the dad, or is he the grandpa? And
he's okay. So the grandfather is who did all the planning, and so I think it's his son, because the four brothers were like,
right, yeah, because he's the uncle. I remember them saying
uncle,
calling him uncle. Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember like where he fell in the family tree thing, but that makes more sense. Okay.
Do we have like theories?
No, I have zero.
Because I guess, I don't know, I was like, well, is he her dad? Because
okay, here's what I was confused. The epilogue of the book, we find out that Xander, he was behind making sure that the games continued, and then he gets his letter, and the epilogue said that his grandfather wrote in the initial letter in the will that he got that his game would only begin after their game ended. So their game ended, and so he was expecting for his game to start, and he was always the one who said he wanted to win. So he was expecting his game, and he figured out that his letter was he's supposed to find the uncle Tobias II. But my question is, don't they know where Harry is? Harry is Tobias, and he's homeless. He's there where he's always been, where Avery used to be. So why don't they just go fly on their private jet and grab Avery, and there you go, there he is. So I guess I didn't really understand, like, did Harry go missing?
I think he's in hiding. Like, if maybe he faked his own death and he's in hiding as a homeless person now. So maybe, yes, Avery knows where he is technically, but does she know that he's a Hawthorne? Or does she just know him as Harry?
No, she knows. Oh, yeah, she finds
she knows now because she saw a picture of him when he was younger.
Yeah,
right.
That's how she identified that's who it was. But
well, then yes.
So I guess that was my only part that was confused. Couldn't she just tell everybody, hey, I used to play chess with this guy in this park. Could just wait out every single day until he shows up, and then kidnap him. He's right there.
But like, so this is why I thought like maybe it was her dad, because she said her dad is like a deadbeat, and that I don't think she's seen him or heard from him or anything, right?
Right, but I thought of that too. But in the book, Sky and her husband run a DNA test on her, and she's not related to them.
Yeah, she has no Hawthorne blood. I did
Right.
remember that. But I'm just like, then what the hell?
Okay, so Lady of Books and Coffee. Do we know what happened to, or how it connects to Grayson and Jameson's former girlfriend? So the whole thing with Emily, the way I understood it, she was a part of the puzzle to. So I guess Jameson and Grayson had a falling out when Emily died because she was stringing them along. She was kind of like dating them both at the same time, and Jameson broke up with her and things happened. She died. And so they had a falling out because of that. So I think the games was really, the way I understood it, is that it was to bring them together, for them to kind of like forgive one another, because Jameson always had this saying, oh, I watched her die, I didn't do anything, it was my fault. And then Grayson was always, I brought her to the place and she drowned and it was my fault because I brought her there. So they kind of were blaming each other without really talking to one another. So I always thought that initial part of that particular part of the game with Emily involved was just to bring them together again, for them to kind of forgive themselves or each other. And I don't know if she's still connected to the story coming up with Tobias II and everything else. So I'm not sure.
I'm wondering if there's like more to that story that we don't know yet. Like maybe we just got like what's on the surface, but there's more potentially.
I mean, we could potentially find out that, that they're lying, that Grayson, threw her over the cliff and she drowned that way, or that Jameson did something. I don't know. But
yeah, I think this book has, or this whole series as a whole, has like so many layers to it, and there's going to be a different like puzzle to solve each book.
And that is Lady of Books and Coffee said, that's why Grayson rejected Avery. Right. I feel like he doesn't want, because he says, he said, I know how Jameson looks at you, when they have that moment in the house. And I think he just doesn't want history to repeat itself, even though it's clear that they have a connection. And I hope in the end that they're end game, but we'll see. But yeah, I think Grayson is being a good brother now. He's kind of stepping back to let Jameson have his his chance, because I think with Emily, they were both fighting over her, and then Jameson in the end decided he didn't want to be used anymore. He broke up with her and Grayson was still together with her. I don't know. So, but I'm not sure how Emily, I don't have any theories on how Emily's story is going to continue on, because I feel like it got pretty wrapped up nicely, in my opinion.
I had a little bit of a panic attack while I was reading, because I don't know, something just didn't click right, and I was like, wait, if Avery was born when Emily died, I was like, what ages are these people? Like, what is going on? Like, how old is Avery? How old are these brothers? What is happening right now?
That was just a really strange coincidence, because we find out at the end of the book that that Avery did meet Tobias Hawthorne. At one point he was at the restaurant and he asked for her name, and then he's had her name for all these years, and he had her, he basically kept details on her all these years. And then the fact that Emily died on the exact day of Avery's, I mean, I guess that could be how Emily's story continues, because I feel like that was just way too much of a coincidence. Just my opinion. It's just weird to me that she died on the exact day that Avery's birthday, and Avery, has been a subject of Tobias's interest for so many years already.
I just want to know why or how Avery fits into all of this. Like, why did he, like, sure, it's like a coincidence that they see each other in a restaurant when she's a child, but like, why her? Like, there's got to be some sort of
He
connection.
liked her. The way I understood it is that memory of him in the restaurant, he liked her name. And he thought, and he thinks in puzzles, so he thought of her name as the anagram. A very
risky gamble.
A very risky gamble. So immediately, as soon as he heard her name, he already thought of the anagram, and for some reason that intrigued him, and he wanted to include her. My question is another one. He had her tailed all these years, and the book says that he had pictures of her playing chess with Harry. Did he not recognize his own son?
No, he had to have. Exactly. There's no way he did it.
I'm just like, listen, why?
but definitely I agree with Chloe that there has to be more, because they keep mentioning how her mother was like, I have a secret about the day you were born. So like, there has to be something in there.
Yeah, so it's just like, now that I'm like talking about it with you guys, things keep popping up, and I'm just like, there's just so many unanswered questions, and I need answers.
I agree with this assessment, which is why I got the second book from the library.
Yeah, I have the second book. The third book doesn't come out till August though, which seems like a really long time away.
I kept thinking about Knives Out as I was reading it. I was like, this is so like Knives Out.
Yeah. That's a good movie.
So I was kind of thinking that as well, that maybe it was like, they picked her because he felt like no one else in his family deserved it. But I think she's more a key than the solution. Yeah. Like a key to like figuring out his family's drama and kind of working it out than just her being more deserving than his family.
I mean, don't get me wrong, $1 bajillion is nice, but their family has a lot of drama. I'd be stressed out every day, every time I woke up.
It's just, and I'm also thinking like another book that I don't even want to name because I don't want to name the family that I'm thinking of, but they're very, very wealthy, and they were the same. There was just like a bunch of backstabbers constantly betraying each other, constantly like talking bad about each other, and just finding ways to like scam each other out of money. Like,
and I feel like for the mother that they have, Sky, I feel like she's very how should I put this in a nice way? She's very selfish. She only like self-centered is the word. So the fact that her sons, in my opinion, turned out okay, like they're not self-centered, and I feel like they're good. They have good head on their shoulders for the most part. How? Like what happened? But yeah.
Yeah, she was definitely a character that I did not care for. I agree that she's very self-centered. I also found it kind of weird that, I mean, and I know this is like a thing for some people, that she's like, I want all of my sons to call me by my first name. And I'm just like, why?
The scene in the bathtub where she's taking a bath and she's okay with her son being, her biological son being there. It was just really weird to me.
I know. And then she was like, well, I'm covered by bubbles. And I'm like, this is all sorts of messed up that I don't want to read.
There was only like, because I was kind of listening and, reading the hard copy at the same time. And there was only one thing that I took the time to put in Bookerly. It was like a quote, and it was from that scene. And I just thought it was funny because of the way she said it.
Which quote?
Let me see.
The I'm covered in bubbles one?
No, she said, we're all friends here. I make it a policy to befriend everyone who steals my birthright.
I don't know.
I thought that was so funny. I was like, okay.
A long time ago. Uh, but yeah, she was disinherited a long time ago. I would do the same thing. I would be that bitch though. There was like a story like many years ago where this old lady died and all her family was I'll find the news story and send it to you guys. But she had all this family expecting, to get her riches because she's a rich woman, and she left everything to her dog. And I would be that petty bitch. I would just leave everything to my buddies.
I feel like I've heard that story before.
I think they mention this in the book, and like I've thought about it before because I've just heard it so many times where people talk about how terrible it is to win the lottery because everyone you've ever known comes out of the woodwork to try to get money from you. And like that's just got to be awful. And that's just like millions. Like I can't even imagine inheriting billions and then everybody being like, "Hey, we went to high school together. We were in grammar school together," or like, people.
Yeah, there's a joke that on the internet that says that when you become a millionaire, you find out family that you never knew you had. But yeah.
But what's really funny though is that didn't Avery make a donation or try to send money to Harry?
Yeah, so the only time he was ever mentioned, aside from the beginning and then the very end where we find out who he is that she mentions it to Grayson when he was like, I was wrong about you. You didn't spend any money aside from, purchases that people actually made for you. You didn't spend any money. She's like, well, technically I did try to send money off to this person named Harry who I used to play chess with. But I think that was the only time he was ever mentioned aside from the very beginning and the very end.
Because they use that like as a lead-in to talk about the charity.
Right, yeah.
So, but I don't remember what conclusion they came to in regards, like, did Harry receive the money? Did they fine Harry? Like, I don't remember.
I don't know if it was ever said. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I thought it was also odd that she tried, but she wasn't successful. But then the story kept going. I completely forgot about it. But now it makes sense because if he's missing, then it makes sense for Xander's game to be to find Harry.
So do we think that Hawthorne is actually dead, or is he just hiding out somewhere watching this all go down?
I would think that the family would be like, hey, I want to see his actual, dead body. Let's make sure that this dude is not alive. But,
I feel like he is dead and he just like left this ridiculous thing.
Right, but they keep mentioning all the time. And like throughout the book with Avery being like she keeps mentioning she thinks that maybe Tobias is alive with all these puzzles that she has to do. And I'm just like, is he? That would just be weird. I don't know. I feel like the family, they're rich enough to be able to like either demand to see his body or excavate his body to be able to see it. I don't know. Can you imagine? Like second book, I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna be like, his coffin's empty, and then I have to wait till August to find out what happens.
Well,
at least I'm gonna be so upset if I have to wait till August.
At least it's only a couple of months as opposed to like having to wait a full year for the next one. True. And I'm waiting for the second one from the library, and I'm really excited.
Yeah.
The second one is called The Hawthorne Legacy. So
get ready. Basically.
Is this the author's?
No, she has other books.
I'm gonna look into her other books.
I know these are the ones. Well, I have to double check and see what else she's written, but I think these are the ones that definitely like blew up.
I had this book on my wish list like a long time ago, and then they redid the cover, and I feel like it was after they redid the cover that it like really blew up, and then everybody started reading it.
I mean, I haven't kept up with Booktube, but I've been seeing this book on Book Talk, so.
Yeah, the covers are gorgeous, and like there's so much detail to each of them. I know I'm definitely going to be adding this whole trilogy to my wish list.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look and see what else she's written, with Goodreads being difficult.
What do you guys think of Rebecca? I don't get her.
Is she
She's
the quiet
weird.
one or is she the snooty one?
That's Thea. She's the quiet one.
What? I thought, wait.
Thea is the snooty one.
Oh, okay. I don't like her.
And then Rebecca is she's Emily's sister.
I think Rebecca's also hiding something. I forgot about
Yes.
her.
Yes. It's just like, you keep showing up, but I don't know what your deal is. So yeah, I think she's hiding something. I don't know what, but yeah.
I think I missed something somewhere, and like somebody was saying to her, and it was brought up more than once, but I didn't really understand the reference. Somebody was like, "You're either the glass ballerina or the knife," right? Is that what they said? What did that mean?
Good question.
That sounds like, I don't know what it means, but it sounds like you're either fragile or
that's what I was thinking.
not.
I always just thought that, glass ballerina, meaning delicate, could potentially break apart, or you're going to be the one that stabs everybody in the back. You're the one who's going to do the breaking. That's what I was thinking, but not sure.
Because Lady of Books and Coffee just mentioned the cover, and I was looking at it, and so it's got like a chess piece on it. It's got it's got the king on it, and then it's got the glass ballerina. It's got an emerald necklace. It's got the skeleton key. It's got the knife, and it's got a crown, and then a candle.
Yeah,
that seems to be like most of what's in there. She came from nothing. They have everything. Let the games begin.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought there would be more violence to this bit because I was thinking. Yeah, I was just thinking there would be more stabbing happening. I guess this is YA, so they gotta be.
Yeah, but I'm glad it was like, the mom and not the brothers. Like, yeah, I didn't want the brothers to be all messed up, super messed up.
Yeah, I like that the brothers turned out to be good. Because Nash was weird.
Well, so far anyway.
Yeah. I always thought Nash was weird because he only shows up in a few scenes. And then Xander with his obsession with scones was also weird to me. But yeah.
They're not the two important brothers in this romance triangle.
But then, with this book, anything can happen. So I was like on the edge. I was like, are you going to be the one that stabs everybody in the back?
Well, there is like the little, I don't know if you want to call it a romance yet or not, the whatever's going on between Nash and Libby.
Yeah. But I don't know. I didn't keep my hopes up for that because it got mentioned somewhere that Nash, he is protective and then he gets things done, and I don't know, it was just weird. But yeah.
I'm not like entirely sure how I feel about Xander, just because he seems like he had insider information that he was like keeping to himself to like get pieces moving in a certain direction, which is kind of like lying by omission, I guess. So I'm wondering how trustworthy he is.
Yeah.
He's the one who has to find the other one, right? The other guy. That's his game.
The uncle, Tobias. Xander, Alexander. He's the youngest, right? Yeah, I believe he's the youngest. Yeah.
Is there anything else we wanted to touch base on with this book or chit chat about?
No. I will say one thing that that bothered me a little is the transition of Grayson's attitude towards Avery. In the very beginning, he was very standoffish to her. He even said, you know, I'll choose my family before you. Like, I don't care, kind of like, I don't care about you. And then, I don't know, I just feel like there wasn't a smooth transition to him being, I'll protect you, you know, kind of thing. So, I don't know. That was just me, my only critique about the book is that transition. I don't think I ever got a clear vision of when that changed, when he became part of his family. But no, I don't think I have anything else.
I don't think I have anything else either. I think I'll probably tell John to read it. I thought it was really good, and I look forward to reading the second one.
Tell him to skip the audiobook though. And then just regular read it.
No, he doesn't regular read.
All right. So kind of just a recap of our initial thoughts. Overall, I'm really excited for the second book and the remainder of the trilogy. I gave it 4 stars, and I'm very excited to see where this goes. I'm loving the puzzle mystery aspect, and I think it's going to go way deeper than where it currently is.
I gave it 5 stars, and I really like that Avery was a cool person and she wasn't annoying, and she's just a good character. I don't know.
Yeah, so I gave it 5 stars as well. I really, really enjoyed this book. The first book talk book that I've enjoyed. But yeah, I'm excited for the next book. I have this book with me, so I'm going to start reading that tonight, and hopefully it doesn't end in a huge cliffhanger that I'll have to wait till August to find out what happens.
So we're going to talk about what we're going to be reading in April now, which I am very excited about. I don't know if anybody else is really excited about this one, but in April, we're going to be reading Neon Gods by Katie Robert. This is another book talk favorite, and it is like a dark romance retelling of the Hades and Persephone story. I'm so excited to read this. I have heard fantastic things. I'm actually listening to another Katie Robert book right now, and I'm very excited to dive into this world. And apparently it's also a series, and I think we're like 3 books behind now. So I definitely want to see what the hype is all about with this one. And we will be discussing this book in a live show on, I want to say it's April 24th. Let me check the calendar real quick. Yes, it's going to be Sunday, April 24th at 6 p.m. Eastern, and that is on this channel again. And then if you follow us on Twitter and or Instagram, which is at Booktube Chicks on both, probably tomorrow or sometime this week, I'm going to be posting the books for the next 3 months. So it'll be this as well as May and June after that. So you can see our full lineup for the next quarter. So yeah, that is everything for us today. Kat, when is the next Pages and Pals, if you know off the top of your head?
It is going to be on April 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern time on my channel.
All right. So then Pages and Pals is just come read some pages with buddies, with pals. And that's always a fun one because we just, for about an hour, we just have some silent reading time. And that's really nice.
Yeah.
And then Desiree's and my other book club, the Quarterly Romance Book Club, is starting our second quarter book in April, which is going to be When You Get the Chance by Emma Lord. And I don't have a copy of that to hold up, but
I don't either.
Yeah. So we're going to be reading that, and our live show will be on Desiree's channel. Both of them are linked down below in the description, but our live show for that book is going to be on May 1st at 6 p.m. Eastern as well. So that's everything coming up for us across the next month. And thank you all so much for watching. We hope to see you at our live discussion of Neon Gods by Katie Robert. And thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.